What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Gonna be doing a little bit of stuff on Moonshine. I've been putting this video together, just working on it here and there, some maintenance stuff, and kind of just cleaning stuff up. So let's get to it. Guys, we got brand new merch on CletusMcFarland.com. Check this little shirt out here. Sparkplug, Dr.TuneEmAll. I really dig these shirts. I do believe we're going to be getting them in another color, but they are live on the website. Head over to CletusMcFarland.com. Check them out. Support us and support the channel. All right, guys. So after posting the last video, if you haven't watched it, this won't make any sense, but label the video 107 60 foot. And we just so happened to make a mistake and those clips didn't end up in the video. So here's those clips now before we get started with today's video. All right, guys, 107, 297 to the 330. Clipped it off of the 230 so we can get another plug read. But all we did there was clean up a little bit of fueling. That's all we did. Solid lick, bud.
Felt great. Felt great. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
not too shabby.
The heat of the day. I mean, this is gonna be.
It's not. Yeah, the track's really good right now.
But this is gonna be the weather we have at the next race.
For sure. But
And
that's setting 2. We
yeah.
made really no tune-up changes other than some individual cylinder fueling.
Yeah.
So we'll get the plugs back out. We can definitely pick at it a little bit more. But now we'll have should be more balanced, and then we can work off
We
that.
changed no added horsepower.
Yeah,
All we
actually,
did
there's
was
a degree and a half of power pulled out of it.
Yeah,
So,
from where we normally run
yeah.
at. But as far as from that first pass to this pass, we didn't make any,
Trying to
power
throw
adder
more at
changes.
it, yeah.
We didn't add any more
nice
nice.
or nothing.
That's the same tune-up, just cleaned up. And we picked
Which-
up key numbers.
We couldn't really do. This is why we're doing this with these plugs, because we couldn't do that with the wrist.
Yeah, you
can't really read them.
The brisk is for after you're done doing it, so put it in and set it. This, I mean, we've never done this. I mean, it's
For sure. That's why we're out here.
we just picked up 3
Now we need to go like 105, 60 foot.
Yeah.
We're still picking up. We're not going to do that right now. We're going to clean it up. We're going to keep just picking at it, chipping. A little bit at a time.
Little chips.
All right, guys. So that's the pass that we accidentally left out of the video. Not the best way to start 2023 first video, making a screw up like that, but I apologize for that. Those are the clips. But looking real forward to getting that thing back out and actually starting to pick at it a little bit more and get a little bit faster with that thing. We think we figured out the issue, and we had a battery voltage issue. So it was actually dumping off voltage. The battery was weak. So we're thinking that was the issue, but we've got a whole new nitrous setup on it. We're going new solenoids, a bunch of new stuff on there just to eliminate half that stuff and just have a fresh slate, go back out there. Maybe get a test session before then, but we'll see. But that's it. So let's get to today's video. As you can see, we got Moonshine up on jack stands, doing a little bit of maintenance on the front. Our turbo mount started leaking again. Looks like it came loose again, so took the bolts out, Loctited it, so those should not come back out again. We're gonna do a couple little painting things. Main things, dash going in. TJ's been working on that a little bit. So the next race we're gonna try to get to is US Street Nationals, and that's at Bradenton Motorsports Park end of January. So we're gonna run X275. Now, I know I'm not competitive. We may not even qualify, but that's what we're gonna race. We're entered to race X275, which is what this car was built for. So that's what we're gonna start doing. We're gonna start chipping away at it, trying to get faster. I know it's not where it needs to be. That class goes, 14s to the 8th mile. So we're way off from that. But but we're gonna get a couple things ready. One of the rules in the class, gotta have a dashboard. So working on getting the dash put in. It's pretty close. Got a new transmission catch can, which some of you may not like that it's in the car, but that right there in the car, it'll come up. If the trans vents, it'll vent into that, and then once it cools off or whatever, it'll drain right back into it. Not a big deal. The other thing, if you guys do watch the channel, you know I've talked about doing a remote, or we'll call it a remote transmission cooler. So we're working on that now, getting ready to pull the transmission cooler out of the back, and we're gonna run 2 lines up. They'll come out right here, and then they'll probably lay somewhere in this area here with 2 quick connect fittings, which I will show you guys. All right, so these are the fittings we're using. They're Red Horse quick connects, and what these do is you push it together. I think they call them dry connects, maybe something like that. But this side will be somewhere like that. I might leave them loose so I can just grab it, but just push it together, whoop, whoop, and then that locks it in. So this end is going to go to the transmission. This end is going to go to our remote cooler, which we're going to have 2 transmission coolers with fans, and they're going to be powered by battery, whatever, 16, 18 volt, and a pump. So it's going to pump transmission fluid from the pan through the coolers and a filter, and then back to the transmission, cool everything off, converter, everything will get nice and cooled off. That way when we go up to make our runs, everything's consistent, everything is cool, and we don't have any issues. So that's what we're going to be working on. Got to cut a little hole in the trans tunnel, make that nice, and then bend up some tubing. My boy TJ welded together, and if he'll even let me bend the tubing. He told me I couldn't do it, so we'll see. The other thing I'd like to do is a belly pan. I want to get rid of the engine diaper, and we're probably going to do a little carbon, because I have a bunch of leftover carbon. Do a little carbon belly pan, so it'll be from under the motor probably back to about right here under the transmission. So if anything little drips, like that race, the last race we did, Snowbirds, we had a little drip and they wouldn't let me run. Don't want that to happen again. So make a little catch pan, belly pan that goes under the car, catch anything that's leaking. If anything bad happens, it'll get caught in that pan. So that's the plan. All right, so we got our fittings on. So this one right here actually came off of here. So this, I talked to Rodney from RPM, and these transmissions are looped internally. So I can use the upper line right there is going to go out to the quick connect, and then this gets capped. This is going to pull from the pan, and then I'm just going to run it into the car. The lines are back here. Going to drill a little hole there, and then push everything into the car, and then we'll be good to go. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some LAT transmission fluid in this, because we've been running regular old ATF, and it was smelling a little bit burnt, so I'm going to put LAT in it, which is a lot better fluid. All right, I got most of the in-car stuff done. I need to get a little grommet for that, and then we're gonna make a little plate that goes kind of like right here, and then take a bulkhead and put it on the back side of this, so those will kind of sit something like that, and then you can just boop, push them on, twist it, be good to go. All right guys, got our quick connects all done. Welded a little tab in here, used some bulkheads, and went through the plate. I don't know if you guys can kind of see that. So it attaches back here, nice and solid, nice and solid. You can just walk up and boop, boop, put them on there. All right, guys, so one more thing I'm gonna do. I'm trying to do some stuff here, get stuff knocked out. This is getting a little rusty, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean all this out and go ahead and OSFO it, so it'll kill all that stuff that's building up in there, and then we can Bondo that, as well as this stuff, because it sat outside for a few days and got real rusty. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean all that stuff up, hit all this stuff with OSFO, then paint all this stuff. This won't get painted, it'll just be OSFO, then we can Bondo it, and then just clean some stuff up, get some paint on the areas that are starting to rust that we don't need, and then trying to get the outside kind of where we want it. We're going to do the front end, get all that stuff leveled out, because I want to get this wrapped. I got new Lexan on order, so the back window will be flush mounted. Just kind of clean up the outside, make it not look as janky. Make the outside look as good as the inside. So that's the plan. That looks a little bit better there. Now we can get some OSFO on it and keep it from rusting. All right, guys, went ahead and cleaned all that up, OSFO'd that, OSFO'd all this, and then I sanded all this stuff, got all the rust off. Just gave it a nice little coat of paint. I might have got a little carried away into the taillight lenses, and now they look worse. But get all that stuff cleaned up. Like I said before, we're gonna get this wrapped. I may put new taillight housings on here because the nuts that go, there's like studs that go through, and they're like very worn out. And that one's trying to come out. I bet if I leave real hard one more time, that thing's staying on the starting line. So I'll look into that, see if maybe somebody's got some local. Originally, I was going to get some made out of fiberglass because I thought they were heavy, and they are pretty heavy, but not as heavy as I thought they were. And I really didn't want to spend the money to have those made out of fiberglass, so we'll leave that alone for now. But I'll let this dry overnight. Maybe a couple days or so, we'll get that bonded up, get it sanded down, get it nice and smooth, throw a little bit of paint on it, clean up some of this other stuff so we can get it ready to be wrapped probably after the next race. I don't think they'll have time to get it done before then, and I don't want to rush them. So we'll get everything on our end done, buttoned up, probably get it wrapped, then do the new Lexan stuff. Maybe, because we're going to do flush mount. We'll figure that out after. But that's going to do it for tonight. Pick you guys back up tomorrow. All right, guys, got all this bonded up, put a little paint on it just to seal everything up, keep anything else from rusting. But we're going to get the whole car like basically sanded down and primered like a matte. It's like a matte primer. But that way the whole car will be one color, and it'll have something for the wrap to actually stick to and adhere to and be all uniform. So yeah, looking a whole lot better. Another thing actually we're going to do is put a 9th injector in it. So that's going to sit just like that, and it's going to spray methanol this way with the turbo going that way. Should atomize the fuel real good and cool down our intake air temp charge. Something I kind of wanted to test. I've heard of some things before, so I want to test it myself and spray some meth in there and get the intake air temp cooler. I think there'll be some power there, as well as try to get some fresh air to the turbo. Originally when we built the car, I was trying to get it as light as possible for the rules, but I can be lighter than I can actually get the car, so it didn't work out in my favor. So I may end up going to a little bit bigger turbo down the road. We'll see. Got some plans for the car, but right now I'm focused on getting everything outside done, because we kind of rushed to get it done, and we lost a door and a back window and just stupid stuff. So get it done, get it wrapped, make sure all the exterior is good, supported, done, everything's ready to go. Then we can worry about other stuff like turbo, maybe a little bit better motor, stuff like that down the road. All right, so I'm going to attempt making a nice little belly pan here out of carbon fiber. Originally what I was going to do is, you can see where these two frame rails meet. I was going to follow that back to where it meets, which is right back here, and then go back from there. But what I think I'm going to do instead, if I cut it just right at 22 inches, I can come all the way up to this cross member here. All right, so it'll go past the control arm, tie into our main frame rail right there. You can kind of see it right there. And then I can literally take that all the way back straight down to probably like here if I really wanted to. Just keep some air out from under the car. That's what I'm thinking. But I kind of got to lay it out and see how it's going to look, because I don't want it to look janky. But that'll cover engine, transmission, everything from getting down under the car, as well as probably keep some air from getting under the car, which should help also. So I'm going to cut a piece of cardboard and just put it up there and see how it looks. And then if I like it, then I can shape it, and then we'll transfer it over to the carbon, and then we'll get it cut up. All right, guys, I got our piece of carbon cut out. This piece is 97 inches long. However, I'm debating whether I want to split it at the motor and then do the trans, or just run, because it's going to stop right about here, because there's a transmission crossmember that goes under. Oh, not a transmission, but for the rear stuff. So I'm going to bring it, I think I'm going to bring it all the way back to like right here. So it'll go all the way up, cover the transmission, cover everything. But I don't know if I should break it here just after the transmission, or break it in 3 pieces, one by the motor, one by the trans, and then one back here. I feel like breaking it in 3 pieces would probably be ideal. If I need to change the oil, I can just drop a little section instead of having to take the whole thing out. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. All right, guys, I got it mounted up a little bit. Oh, look at my welds. I gotta actually fix this one, but yep, that's what we're going with here. Looks pretty good. Came out nice. So we'll just run that down to that cross member you see way back there. Cover up the stuff, and then we're gonna make a little tray inside this panel. There's gonna be a tray kind of around the oil pan. That way the oil can't like run out the sides. Alrighty, so took the carbon fiber off, bent up some aluminum, riveted it all on, and siliconed it, and that basically goes up around the motor and the oil pan and everything else. So if something starts happening in there, it'll keep it all in that area. So the other thing we'll do, I'm gonna actually paint this whole thing black, and then before we put it on, we'll put some oil dry mat in there and keep it from puddling up in there and soaking stuff up. So that should keep everything around the motor retained if something does happen, long enough for me to get it off the track. All right, guys, got it all done, all the way back to that rear cross member. It's now carbon fiber, so nothing should leak or drip. See, maybe get some aerodynamics out of it. I don't know, we'll see. But it was a little bit taller of a test than I thought it was going to be, but it's done. Guys, I also got me a fancy new toolbox here. I've never had a toolbox this nice, and I'm super pumped. I love this thing. But let's check out this here turbo stuff we got. So went ahead, took the whole turbo and my charge pipe over to our local powder coater. Joe over there at ProFab Powder Coating does a killer job. We have gotten the exhaust housing Cerakoted because it was all rusty and it looked horrible. So got the compressor housing coated black, make that a little bit cleaner looking. And I also did our charge pipe, which I'll show you guys. We actually added a bung for a 9th injector on that. All right, let's see if I can't scratch this stuff up a little bit. Oh yeah, much better. So as you guys can see, we've got our 9th injector bung on there. So we want to cool down those IETs a little bit. Oh yeah, this looks much better. I may end up taking the downpipe over after we get it redone. And just having that Cerakoted also just clean everything up a little bit. Get in there and clean that up just a little bit with a wire wheel and we'll be good to go. That looks much better. Whole lot better there. That'll clean up nice. And then our extremely rusty turbine housing, which looks a heck of a lot better. But just kind of like a sore thumb to me, seeing that thing just sticking out all rusty. Yeah, that looks way better. Awesome. Yeah, turbine housing, much cleaner. Probably should have done that from day one. This looks a lot better too, so I just got to get down in here. I'll get a little wire brush or something and just clean this up in here. Get all that stuff nice and clean, we'll be good to go. This looks a lot better too. The only problem with this thing is you could see where they like crushed the tubing when they were bending it. Probably should have smoothed that out before I brought it over there, but that's all right. It looks a whole lot better than it did before. Man, that looks a whole lot better. Got all the cold side stuff on. I got to clean out the inside of this thing though. It's full of sandblast material. Actually, I think they used walnut shells, but I got to clean this thing out before I can put it back on. Shoot, buddy, that looks so much cleaner. Definitely worth it on that one. So, got our 9th injector here. We even got back pressure now. So I got to wire up that sensor, wire up the injector, make a line. Should be good to go. Got us some fresh meat's gonna go on the car. So pop them rear wheels off and get those swapped over. Man, this looks so much better. I just got to get a couple fittings here so I can finish that hose and probably get that tomorrow. Alrighty, got us some fresh meats on. Love new tires. Get you a sticker you can burn off. It's up in there somewhere. But these tires are a whole lot softer than the ones that were on there. They're actually pretty hard, which is surprising, but they're not that old. But we'll use these for mock-up on TJ's car over there. But the sidewalls were pretty stiff, so. And one of them had kind of made contact with the fender, so I didn't feel super safe trying to go fast with them. So fresh set on there. Still gotta get the dash done. I don't know that we're gonna have that done before US Nights, but we are gonna try. Dash needs to get done, and we gotta do the front end and downpipe. Pretty much all we got realistically left. I gotta make a hose up here, wire up a couple things, we'll be good to go. Also, TJ got our transcooler all bent up, so a couple little tabs here and there. I can plumb all that and get that stuff done. But that's gonna pretty much do it for this video. Tried not to bore you guys with too much time-lapse stuff, but making some little updates on Moonshine, making some progress on Moonshine. After this race, if we get the front end and all that stuff done, get the bumper on, we're going to be working on probably doing a new leg stand is next on the list. Just get all that cleaned up, get this thing finished up so we can get it wrapped, which I have some ideas on that, but I'm not going to share with you guys. I'm going to keep that one a surprise. I appreciate you guys watching. As always, stay tuned. We'll see you in the next episode.